Hello, hello, Dr. Brett Spradlin here at Divine Design Natural Health, Cleveland, Tennessee. We are ready for main ways to escape the matrix. Is it anybody in the house? Who wants to learn how to escape the matrix? Over here. Yeah. Oh, this guy over in the back. Oh, and this guy too. Oh, yes. He's ready to go, man. Get out of my way. Let's get out of this matrix. Winter 2024. Today, January 22nd, ways to escape the matrix. Main ways to escape the matrix. February 5th, if you know anybody, which you do, I know by statistics, if you know anybody with any type of heart stuff, okay, that doesn't, I don't care if it's AFib, VFib, DFib, CFib, PFib, whatever it is, or even blood pressure. How many of you in here know anybody who are on blood pressure medications? Every hand goes up. How many of you cholesterol medications? Every hand goes up. Leading killer, disease-wise, what is it in the United States? What is it? Heart disease. February 5th, just as a treat to you for Valentine's Day, every year we heart you more. So we heart you more. And then March 4th, isn't that International Star Wars Day, March 4th? Real life, Weston A. Price. We'll do an entire class on the life and the philosophy of Weston A. Price, if you don't know who that is. If you go here as a patient, you do know who that is. You've read about him, heard about him, maybe you don't remember. But we're going to do a whole thing on Weston A. Price, who was a contemporary of Royal Lee, the founder of Standard Process. Weston A. Price also, in his honor, Weston A. Price Foundation is named. And the Weston A. Price Foundation, we are a Cleveland, Tennessee chapter leader for Cleveland of the Weston A. Price Foundation, a chapter of the Weston A. Price Foundation. What that means, you'll find out in that class on March 4th. So let's March 4th. Main ways to escape the matrix. Oh, let's go back to that picture. That is a good-looking dude. That's a good-looking dude right there. That is a good-looking dude right there. Yeah, that's just me in my office, just hanging out. That's during a staff meeting this last week, right? Yeah. So yes, that is me. Can we move that over just a tad? Get the light's kind of bouncing. So I want to get into main ways to escape the matrix. What is this all about? Well, I want to help people to get away from the system. We'll explain more about that as we go on. But welcome to 2024. This is kind of a combination event. It's kind of a review event because a lot of the stuff we're going to mention in here is from previous classes that we're just going to direct you to the previous events. You can go to the website and check out WellWorks, whatever it is. I'll give you the titles if you're interested in hearing the stuff that we mentioned. The reason we do this, humans forget. How many of you read the story about Moses and then, the Israelites? What happens? He boogies for a few days. He comes back and, they just got out of the Red Sea, right? And he comes back and here's the golden calf, right? I won't go into the specifics, but people forget the details. People forget. They do well with their diet or supplements or stopping from poisoning themselves. They do it well for a couple weeks or months, whatever, even a couple years. And then before you know it, something happens. They hang out with a person, they watch a commercial, they go somewhere, they eat something, and then they're off the wagon. And then they go right back sometimes. Not all the time. Very rare occurrences here, but I do see it out there quite a bit. So we just do this to review because people forget. Here's one thing that I would love for you to, write down in your notes. Optionality, how can we say, is the best strategy when you're facing uncertainty. In other words, you want to have options. You want to be able to have options in your life. When you are sick and disabled and in a hospital somewhere, I'm just going to move these right down here. When you're in the hospital system, you don't have options because they're not going to let you take your supplements. They're not going to detox you. They are not going to ask you what you want for dinner. Well, they will ask you what you want for dinner, but they're not going to change anything. They're not going to go out to Aubrey's and get you a steak. They're going to give you what the cafeteria serves, right? You are in their system. So optionality is the optimal strategy when you're facing uncertainty. So in a world of uncertainty, like what we're in right now with all the crazy stuff going on, you have to build into your life optionality in order to have a great strategy. That's what this is all about. So we're going to educate you just to give you options to evade and avoid the current system. That includes the medical system, the banking system, the educational system, the home, the birthing system, at large. What else? The real estate system. Good grief. There's a lot of systems out there that you just do not want to be stuck with your pants down when the wind starts blowing. So let's get into this. That's the caveat. That's the preface. Also, one of the reasons we do this, people are indoctrinated, fluoridated, medicated, vaccinated, glyphosated, cosmeticated, food sedated, irradiated. If you don't know what that means, go back, rewatch some of the old classes. It is very likely that your coworkers and some of the other people that you speak to, like your family members, are probably going to have differing views, at least in part, due to that list. So effects of that list will lead, I promise you, to misdiagnosis and inevitable drugging for life. There are no other options. When you're in that system, when you are in a system where you only believe in premiums and deductibles and copays and prescriptions and co-insurance and all this stuff, where you believe that they have your best interests in mind, when all other proof is telling you opposite, when you're in that system, you do not have options. So we're trying to help you because the effects of all this will lead to a misdiagnosis, and in that system, you will be inevitably drugged for life. Anybody in here in the healthcare field, previously or currently? Nobody? How long healthcare?
I was a nurse.
RN? For how long?
For 35 years.
35-year nurse. I want you to stop me if I say anything that is not true.
Okay.
Promise?
Promise.
Okay, here we go. So families and workplaces are in conflict over misunderstood physiology. So they lie to you about your physiology, like your stomach's producing too much acid. If you want to know more about any of those, go watch Lies Doctors Tell, part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. I have 8 versions of that. They're all different. Misunderstood physiology and fraudulent science. Remember what happened the last 4 years? So that's just a little bit of an overview of why we're having this talk. Your friends and family need to know this. Big overview. Here's your preparedness checklist. This is just you can go right down the whole thing. Jesus, you got to be spiritually prepared. You got to have healthy blood. How do you have healthy blood? Good food, good water. Some of these are going to tie into the big picture. This is just a quick list of what we're going to be talking about. You might want to have some backup food, some backup power, maybe backup shelter, backup food, backup power, water, shelter, food. We're not going to get too much into that, the power, water, shelter, food thing. We've discussed that in previous classes, but everything, think of it this way. You don't have to stack 50 pallets of canned beans in your closet, okay? All you have to do is make decisions every day where everything you do should improve your life, even if nothing ever goes wrong, right? You should always plan for the future, and you should improve your life in ways that would support you in a crisis situation. In other words, keep your life very simple. Keep your life the probability of your success being very high, and leverage your time, leverage your energy, and leverage your money to things that are going to help you succeed and be prepared no matter what happens. Even if nothing bad happens, preparing and having a little bit of backup power, backup water, backup shelter, and backup food is not going to hurt you. You're going to eat it anyway. You're going to use it anyway. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you're not becoming an off-the-grid survivalist prepper living in the woods. You're just helping give yourself peace of mind so that you can be a little bit more creative and you're not under the gun. What happened in the toilet paper apocalypse when the world shut down? Everybody ran and got what?
Still got some.
Everybody ran and bought stuff that it didn't matter. You'd find a way if you didn't have the toilet paper. You get what I'm saying? It's the short-sightedness and the short time preference that people have in this world, not thinking long-term. They're just living hand to mouth, right? So we're trying to help you prepare for that. So backup water, power, water, shelter, food, that's not what we're talking about here in this class, but it's just a heck of a good idea to have a couple things lined up, right? Assets, we'll talk about that a little bit because you want your assets to not be confiscatable or seizable. This whole class we'll talk about that later on. The difference between like money and the love of money is something that's very tenuous for a lot of Christians. Just because maybe you haven't had the right teaching on money. Maybe you haven't had the right teaching. What is money? If I were to ask most people in this world, what is money? They would pull out a dollar bill and say, right here. That's not what money is. That's a Federal Reserve note printed by a government, by Federal Reserve that's not part of your government.
Right.
The Federal Reserve is not federal and it doesn't have reserves. It just prints money out of thin air. But we've all been taught that the Federal Reserve notes in your Federal Reserve notes in US dollars are totally different things. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk whole classes on it. Number 5 is self-defense supplies. That's all I'll say there. Your best precious metals probably might be lead and copper rather than gold and silver. But self-defense supplies, especially quiet weapons that don't make smoke and loud noises, those are the ones I like. And then community networking. You should have like at least, you should know some people with some varied skills. You shouldn't be locked up in your house, being a hermit, reading smut novels. You should probably, know some people that know how to can or know how to hunt or know how to plumb or know how to do some electricity. Or, like me, maybe you might want to know somebody who can do stitches on somebody. If something were to go down and you don't want to go to the hospital because you don't want to get the mRNA COVID's hoax lethal injection crap that they're pushing on you, right? Somebody today told me that somebody was going to the hospital to get some kind of something. Who was this? Might be here. I don't know. Don't raise your hand if you're here. But somebody was going to get some kind of thing at the hospital, and they wanted the guy to go back and get every childhood vaccination. This is an older guy. Every childhood vaccination, and wanted him to get the COVID's lethal injection. Dude's like, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 years old. I want him to go back and get 80 different shots. I'm like, that's where you're heading. That's where the healthcare system that you're putting your faith in is now chopping parts off of little boys and girls. And people think that it's okay. It's not okay. So self-defense supplies, community networking. Know some people with some skills. Don't just hunker down. And then emergency backup communications. We might talk about this later, but two-way radios, walkie-talkies, a way of securely texting people where Google and Facebook can't see it. That would be a good idea. I mentioned this to people and nobody's ever thought of it. Your phone, your Google phone, your Android phone, your Apple phone, it's all controlled by Apple. They shut your phone off, you're done. They read all your text messages. I shouldn't say they. I should say the AI read your text messages. Any of you have at-home jobs where your email and your communications and your phone calls are logged. The AI is listening to, or will be, if it's not already, listening to your conversations and logging it all. How many of you work at home or have a job? Yeah. So the AI will be listening to your conversations and making sure that you're handling the conversations properly, if it's not already. So have some way of securely texting, have some personal servers that you run that's not somebody else's computer in the cloud. Get off Google Drive, get off Dropbox, get your stuff out of Apple iCloud and start managing your own information because they own it all. And learn what Nostr is, N-O-S-T-R. Might be a little past some people's pay grades, but it's an uncensorable way of sharing information that's not run by bots and is not algorithmically programmed. So you can communicate with other humans without anything standing between you. It's like Bitcoin for communication. Nostr, N-O-S-T-R. You don't need to download it and do it. There's no app for it for just doing Nostr, but just at least learn what it is. You will be way up on your tech buddies if you just mention Nostr. Just learn what it is. It stands for Notes and Other Stuff Transmitted by Relays, N-O-S-T-R. It's going to crush Facebook and Twitter. I'll just go ahead and say that. But it's a relay network. It's not a social media sharing program. It's like a network that you can talk to other people openly. It's no censoring. And then number 8, of course, is you might want to consider where you're living. Relocation from big cities, for sure. As you can tell by the mostly peaceful immigration thing that's happening in the United States right now, you might not want to be in big cities. But those are the big ones. With number 1, go back, please. Real quick. With number, no. With number 1, in order for that reason. If you do not have this, go all the way down. If you don't have this isn't going to matter. If you don't have healthy blood, well, that's not going to matter. If you don't have this, you're not going to be able to do any of this. So it kind of goes in order right there. I mean, location should probably be up there a little bit more, but I mean, at least have number 1 down. If you don't, we'll talk about it. So let's get started here let's go to the website real quick. And throughout the course of this whole class and every class, this is where I'm directing people, because you go to the website and then you can find our videos This is just divinedesignnaturalhealth.com. You go to patient information, and you go down to videos. Show them how it works, Jonathan. Go to patient information, and go down to videos, which is where we're at right now. And then this is where we are. And all of our previous wellness workshops are there, from the Family Feud Holiday Health Edition to Fast Aid to How to Avoid the ER to the New Age for Old Devils to Say What You Mean What You Say. Everything is there by number, 183, 185, 186, 187. They all go in order this way. So 184 was a movie night, okay, the title, and then all of the platforms that we're on. We got censored off YouTube. We got censored off Vimeo. They don't want anybody saying anything that they don't agree with, because they love free speech so much that we are on 4 or 5 other platforms. So when I mention some of these things, this is how you find it. If you like Brighteon, you just go here. If I say watch number 173, go to 173 and click on, you like Brighteon, go to Brighteon. You like Facebook, watch it on Facebook, even though I don't know how we're still on Facebook. But there's the link. There's how you find everything. All of our videos there, that's how you find them. Next slide. So if you want to know more about some of the preparation side of things, some of the prepping stuff, like what do I do? What do I do? The root of all evil, that has to do with money. Part 1 and part 2. Eugenics agendas, knee deep in the apocalypse. That helps you understand what is actually going on in the medical community and the world. Why are they trying to depopulate? Why are they trying to kill so many people? Why is the medical industry so corrupt? That discusses it. Next, Fast Aid, Avoid the ER. That is part 1. I've got a part 2 in the works, but part 1 will blow your mind because it has what you think people go to the ER for is not what they actually go to the ER for. So Fast Aid is an attempt at helping people understand that you do not have to run to the emergency room for every cut and bump and fever. That's part 1. WellWorks Survivor, the FEMA Summer Camp Edition. Nobody ever laughs at that title. I personally think it's hilarious. But the FEMA Summer Camp Edition, if you don't know what a FEMA camp is, you're in the wrong office. But the Survivor FEMA Summer Camp Edition discusses some of the ways to be prepared: food, water, supplements, things like that. Plant Power for the Next Plague. That is a class primarily dealing with the herbal stuff that we use and the essential oil stuff that we use. And then last but not least, if you want to know more about the preparatory stuff, the Great Awakening link that we do not have that on the website. That was a link that we shared with people who were here. It was a video that we showed that had a lot to do with what's been going on in the world in the last 4 years. Nadia can give you that link at the front desk. Let's tear right into this. So that was the preface way before. That was the caveat, and now here's the real deal. Develop your spiritual health and discernment, just like what we talked about with the Jesus thing. You've only got 3 choices if you want to believe in a God, or even if you don't. You can be an atheist, in which case there's no God. You can be a polytheist, in which case or you can be a monotheist, in which case there's one God, or you can be a polytheist, in which case there's more than one. Those are your only choices. You're an atheist, and you think you're smarter than God, therefore there is no God. Or you're a polytheist and you believe that there are river gods and sun gods and moon gods, or you're a monotheist, in which case that makes a lot more sense, because with the polytheism thing, you're like, well, which God created which God? With the atheism thing, you're like, well, how could order be there without something causing order? How could a builder not have a building? How could a building not have a builder? How could a creation not be created by a creator, right? So you're faced with this concept of, I have to make a decision. Why? Well, the last 4 years have polarized the entire world, all right? And if you've ruled out this one because of stupidity, I was brainwashed in college, I was brainwashed in high school, NASA, whatever, evolution, billions of years, you rule out that one. Then if I rule out this one and go, okay, well, all the transhumanists and the humanists that want to kill everybody, they're just glorified atheists. Well, what about this right here? Polytheism, Gaia, Mother Earth, sun god, moon god. Well, okay, then you're a polytheist. Then you're just a hippie, right? You're a New Age hippie. You're worshiping, you don't know it, but you're worshiping Hindu gods, and you're worshiping ancient demon idols. You just don't know it yet. So if you rule that one out, then you're down to one, monotheism. You're down to, okay, you got 3 choices, and only 3 choices. You're a Jew, you're a Muslim, or you're a Christian. If the Old Testament predicted the New Testament, and the New Testament fulfilled the Old Testament, Then a bunch of dudes in the Middle East came around 600 years later and said, nope, all the Jews and Christians are wrong. I think you can pretty much make your decision who you're going to believe right here. 600 years later, Muhammad, right? Letter B, the last 4 years have polarized the entire world, sheep and goats. Just go to Matthew 25 and look at this. All the nations will be gathered before him. Will separate the people from one another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He'll put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance. The kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. So there's a narrow gate. The road is wide. The gate is narrow, my friend. So you got to decide and develop your spiritual health. And it's not just spiritual health, but right here, what does this word mean? Discernment. Able to see, right? You're able to discern. You're able to understand who is this person and why are they here. You're able to figure out, is this a relationship I want to get into right now? You're able to figure out, is this something I want to do with my time? You know, is this worthy of my spiritual attention? That's all that says. Figure it out. But the last 4 years have totally polarized the world. Next. So you got to learn God's purposes and plans. Learn what God would do. Learn what God said. And then turn everything 180 degrees. Look at what you have now. Compare that to what you're seeing in the world. And that will tell you who's behind all of this crap. I'll say it again. Read what God said. Well, I don't believe the Bible. Problem number one. Read what God said. Well, it's a different language. Okay, do it in Hebrew or do it in Greek. Or trust somebody that translated it. But read the Bible and see what God said. Then turn it around and you'll see who's behind all of this crap. Case in point, God said, be fruitful and multiply. Planned Parenthood doesn't believe that. You know, the doctors chopping off little boys and girls' parts don't believe that. Honor God's instruction. The schools don't tell you that. The government doesn't tell you that. Communicate with them. They certainly don't want you doing that one. And then teach your children to do the same. No, let the government teach your children. Right? And then it will be added unto you. All you got to do is this right here. It's so simple. It's so simple. And you're not listening to some dude dressed in some dude wearing a mitre hat and a dress in a closet, absolving you of your sin. No, none of that crap. None of that crap's in the Bible. None of the praying to Mary and the saints and the nuns and the convents and the monasteries and the popes and the cardinals and the bishops. None of that is in the Bible. None of it. Next. That's a big stepping stone for people. A lot of Catholics come here. They're from the East Coast. We have a lot of people move here from the East Coast, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, yada, 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 Maine. You know, they all come away. They're from Catholicism. And then they come here and we start talking Bible stuff and they go, I didn't know that. Hey, didn't read your Bible much, did you? None of that stuff's in the Bible. Well, shoot, I got to start reading this. Yeah, you got to start reading it for yourself. Like what I'm trying to tell you guys, you have to be in charge of your own health. Even if you're pregnant, you got to decide, am I going to do this at home or am I going to do this at the hospital? I know. It's a struggle because you go, oh, well, you know, everything I've ever learned says hospital, hospital, hospital. But here you can meet a lot of people that did it a different way. Right, Oksana? Right. We are living in days which were foretold 6,000 years ago. Well, take that into consideration. God never said that fighting an ancient demonic death cult would be easy. Amen or amen? And then genetic tampering is happening in real time. That's the COVID's hoax, right? 81% of the United States took a software upgrade that was never a vaccine. It was actually a weapon system. So who owns the patent for that? They do. The Department of Defense and the U.S. government owns the patent for the vaccine, which isn't a vaccine, that they tricked people into getting. So genetic tampering is happening in real time. If you want to understand why, read Genesis chapter 3. I've taught whole classes on that. We won't get into it now. But I'm telling you, those classes that we taught, you're not going to hear them in church. Because we were talking about a seed war between the serpent seed and God's seed. But churches are not going to teach you that. The World Economic Forum is the Fourth Reich, and there's a dude that looks like Darth Vader, like the Emperor from Star Wars, that wears black Darth Vader crap, speaks in a German accent, and the whole world bows down to him. His name is Klaus Schwab. We've taught whole classes on this guy. It's ridiculous. And the World Economic Forum is a bunch of Nazis and a bunch of transhumanist atheists that want to destroy God from this world. And they're going to fail miserably. But man, they've got a lot of people falling for their climate hoax. AI, artificial intelligence. You know what's interesting? They call it artificial intelligence and not artificial wisdom. Isn't that interesting? But AI is already deployed in many industries, and it will continue. It's not going to go anywhere, man. It's only going to get bigger. What they let you see, they dropped last February. So AI is coming. Artificial intelligence. Intelligence, the ability to crunch a bunch of numbers, read a bunch of books, and spit out a bunch of crap. But wisdom's totally different. So they'll never have artificial wisdom, ever. But artificial intelligence, yeah, you can teach a computer to do that. Our voting, border, and military are compromised. Remember, we're talking about days in which we're foretold 6,000 years ago. Do not think that you're voting, don't think that they're going to let you vote. Don't think that they're going to close the border, and don't think that they're not going to drop bombs, because that's what they get paid to do. And then CBDCs are on the way. What are CBDCs? Watch The Root of All Evil, Part 1, Part 2, central bank digital currencies are on the way. We've had people big banking people, come in here as patients and go, yeah, Wells Fargo is working on a CBDC right now. Every bank is. Central bank digital currency means they shut off your money if you say wrong think or wrong speak. And then politicians, I promise you, politicians are not going to save you. Probably won't have an election. There'll be a civil war. There'll be a false flag. There'll be some kind of scamdemic, plandemic, lethal injection, hoax, catastrophe, Maui fire, something. They'll drop something, but there probably won't be an election. And on that note, I wasn't going to even talk about this, but Christians who support people in politics who are Hindus makes me crazy. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Tulsi Gabbard. I'm talking about Vivek Ramaswamy. These dudes are Hindus. They don't like your God. They didn't swear on the Bible. They worship Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, and 300 million other demon, pagan, idol, cult gods. Get over it. Christians, stop supporting people who are not in your corner. That's all I'll say on that. Next. They talk really well. I get it. I understand. They talk. But, you know, a few years ago, there was a president who talked really good that swept everybody, tickled their itching ears the way they wanted them to be itched, right? And here we are, years later, and we got more Christians supporting people who worship demons. I said it on camera. I said it. I'll prove it to you in a court of law if you want. They say it on camera. They're not Christians, they're Hindus. They say it on camera. Look it up. Set your boundaries with people and principles. This is probably the number one thing that gets people into pickles. Set your boundaries with people. What do I mean? You don't have to entertain everybody, and you don't have to like everybody. You don't have to invite them into your house. You don't have to have them. I see so many people come in here, and they're in a wreck because of some relative that they don't give two rips about. Why are you in a fight with them if you don't care? Knock them out of your life. Kick them out of your house. I mean, it's easy. You get to dictate what comes into your life and into your eyes and ears and into your sphere of influence, right? That's a huge thing. But the other thing is principles. Determine your principles. Like I determined years ago that there will never be a pharmaceutical drug in my house. I determined years ago that the only chemical that's going to be in my house is something to pour down the drain and eat hair. I determined years ago that I was not going to eat this. I'm not going to hang out with these kind of people, these kind of people, these kind of people, I don't care what they do. I am just not going to compromise my principles. Somebody comes here to sell us something, they mention 2 or 3 words, and I know immediately, nope, don't even open the door. Don't even open the door. Don't even waste the time. We don't have the time. Just, you have to have boundaries and principles, or you will say yes way too often when you should have said no. And I've learned that the hard way. We've all done it. I see light bulbs going off on every person's head right now. But understand, this is a business tree. If you do not like ministry, if you do not like Jesus, if you do not like the Bible, this ain't the place for you, probably. Because it's a business, but it's a ministry, because we're going to tell you a lot of stuff and teach you a lot of stuff that you probably should have learned in Sunday school 45 years ago, but you didn't. And so it's a business, it's a ministry, it's a business tree. Right, Jane? High five. I got that from her. She told me I stole that word from her. I said, I'm stealing that word from you. I said, see, I gave you credit. But yeah, get sovereign with your own, go back. So set your boundaries with people. So get sovereign over your communications, your resources, your assets, your books. How many of you know if there's books that you want, buy them now. They're censoring. They're getting rid of this stuff. Get sovereign on your education, yada, yada. We talked about there is no cloud. Like, there is no cloud. You got your stuff on the cloud. You got your stuff on Dropbox. You got your stuff on Google. They own it. It's their computer. It's not a cloud. It's not like some floating little cartoon cloud in the sky. It's somebody else's hard drive that you're keeping that on. Get your stuff off of, get your information off of other people's computers. One thing I'll say is kill your televisions. You want to get sovereign? You want to get your spiritual health and discernment in line, brother? Take your 12 gauge, grab your TV by the cord, pull it out in the driveway, take your 12 gauge, and drop a few slugs in that thing. It's the best thing you'll ever do. Kill your televisions. If you need help, I've offered this only a few other times. You know what? Free of charge. Free of charge. I'm good on this. You want me to help you? I will come over. I will take your TV out and I will murder it for you if you want me to. Baseball bat, golf club, machete, I don't care. I'll take care of it for you. I'll do it free. I love it. I love smashing TVs. But then if you didn't have a TV in your house, think about there could have been no lockdowns. There could have been no pandemics. There could have been surveillance. All the crap that they rolled out, it could not have happened. You could not have convinced the entire world to roll up their sleeve and get a software upgrade from Bill Gates if there was not television in 4 rooms out of the 6 in your home.
That's right.
Amen or amen? They couldn't have convinced everybody to go in a parking lot, sitting in their car, and let a stranger reach through the windshield with a syringe to inject you and give you donuts if it wasn't on television.
Wow.
Set your boundaries. Turn off the damn television. It is not going to teach you anything good. Yes, I said it. And then social media, we already talked about, is ruled by algorithms. They're only going to show you on Facebook, they're only going to show you what they want you to see in order. The bots that you're communicating with probably aren't even humans, and there's censorship. So we put up some stuff the other day I'll show you. I don't know how it slipped through the censors, but it's great. Number 2, determine your freedom. This is a short and simple one. Notice, we spent a lot of time on number 1.
Most important.
Most important, right. Thank you, Jane. Number 2, determine your freedom. What does freedom really mean to you? Well, some people want to live in a liberal city where you can take a dump on the sidewalk and shoot heroin. Other people want to live in a conservative place where you can go to the town hall and the 10 Commandments are on the wall. But some people want to live in a country where if you get caught stealing, both your hands get removed publicly on television. What are you willing to deal with? What do you want to do? Some people go and live someplace else where there's no tax, but it's under Sharia law, right? What is your freedom? What's freedom to you? Because I'm pretty sure that the freedom that I've read about and know to exist in the world doesn't consist of a year where you don't pay your property taxes and the government can take everything you own. I'm pretty sure that's not in there. But that's just me. But so what do you value? B, do you value government collectivism, which is AKA communism, Nazism, fascism, socialism, or do you value sovereign individualism? I know we've got a lot of people in here in this community that we have built here. There's home birthers, homeschoolers, homesteaders, prepper people, there's farmers, there's duck people, quail people, there's chicken people, beef people, egg people, milk people. There's people who, I don't know any of our patients who are here. None. And the ones who did walk in here that were a little commies, very quickly when you got them off the psych meds and you started feeding them real food, they went from commie to sovereign.
Wow.
Very quickly.
Awesome.
So this is a disease. I can prove it to you. I can show it to you. Very quickly, you walk in here with a rainbow shirt telling me you're on 5 psych meds and your kids can't talk. Very quickly, I will change you over from commie to an individualist. Very quickly, if you allow it. It's possible. It's a disease. You can fix it. Letter C. You might have to bloom where you're planted, but you might have to go where you can prosper, right? I am all about taking advantage of, of where we're born. We have a lot of freedoms to be Americans, right? But sometimes there are some other places that God might call you to and might want you to do. And so just be prepared, be mobile if you can be, right? And you either believe, with this one right here, you either believe that government serves the people or the people serve the government. And I'm not going to apologize for us being way off the grid. We don't do your insurance. We don't put your name in a computer that goes to a government database. That has not been ever ever, and never will be, as long as my heart is pumping in my chest, there will be nothing about this place that interlinks with anything governmental, ever. FYI. So if you want to have sovereignty over your, let's say, your medical records, should you trust Blue Cross Blue Shield to look through your underwear drawer and have all of your stuff? And then 3 years when you change jobs, when you go to Cigna or Humana, and now they've got all your stuff about your old STDs and about this and about that and about, the diabetes meds that you're on, when they kick that drug out of their coverage and you have to go to a new doctor and a new insurance thing and get a different insulin shot, guess what? All of that stuff is out there, 3 different companies. How's that safe? Data breach, right? Oh, your stuff's on the dark web. God, I wonder how that happened. Oh, how did that happen? Number 3, ditch your insurance and other unnecessary financial drains on your income. What did he say? Ditch my insurance. Yes, I did, as a matter of fact. And listen to what I'm saying, because I might save you a couple $100,000. Anybody in here saved a bunch of money by coming here? Anybody? Okay, can I have hands? Oh, there they are. Okay, I didn't ask for hands to go up. See, that's the problem. Oh, I didn't ask for hands. Raise a hand. People just nod. Save questions for later. Save questions for later. I say ditch your insurance and ditch your other unnecessary financial drains on your income. People blow their gaskets. They levitate when I tell them, you can do this. Affordable Care Act, was it affordable? Was it for care? Was it completely mislabeled? They spent how many hundreds of millions of dollars on a website that could have covered half the country with medical care? But they built that into the website. And who made the money from the website? The government can, right? So something amazing happens when you trust God more than you trust Blue Cross Blue Shield. Something amazing happens. Well, what if this? That's not faith. Well, what about this? Faith. That's not faith, that's fear. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? I know some people would argue and go, well, you need to be covered. Here's the problem with that. The sickest people always have what? How did they get sick?
The best insurance.
Because they had killer insurance. Literally. It's that messed up where people think, I've got a great insurance plan. Therefore, they get sicker than hell by having the best insurance plan. Because the doctors see, what's the first thing that happens when you walk into a medical office? What do they ask for?
Your insurance card.
Do they do that before they ask your name?
Mm-hmm.
What? I mean, seriously, everybody knows this. So I'm not crazy saying this. It's just the first time you might have heard it, right? So how do I know that it's the biggest scam in the world? Because, well, people say, well, yeah, well, I got to have insurance. What if I get in a car accident? That's why you have auto insurance. Well, yeah, but what if my house burns down? Well, that's why you have home insurance. Well, yeah, but what if somebody slips at my sidewalk at my business? Well, that's why you have business insurance. Well, yeah, but what if I cut somebody when I'm sewing up their laceration? Well, that's why a doctor has malpractice insurance. Well, what if somebody trips? That's why you have liability insurance. And then the last thing on their mind, what they just asked about is medical insurance. What if I get in a car accident? What am I going to do medically? Well, that's your auto insurance, right? But they're talking about this. My point is here, anywhere you walk, you are under 2 or 3 different insurance policies. Anywhere you go. Who's paying for all that? Everybody who owns the property that you're stepping on, or the car that you're in, or the truck that you're driving, right? So you're under policies. You leave this property here, you are now out of my liability insurance, and you get in your car. Whose insurance are you on? Your auto insurance. You hit somebody else's car, guess what? Now you've got 2 of these involved with the lawyers and the nice little, insurance company banter back and forth, Now you're in the court system. Now they're dragging you through the coals, but that dude's uninsured probably nowadays because he's from another country, but somehow he's driving. My point is this. You're under a lot of different insurance policies. Then you go home, or you go over to a friend's house. Whose insurance are you on now? Their house insurance. Everywhere you step your foot, you're under a couple different policies. Who all's making the money off that? all the insurance companies. So it's not the pharmaceutical companies that rule the world, it's the insurance companies. Because the insurance companies run the pharmacy companies. Just FYI. So you're under multiple insurance policies. So why don't we take insurance? That's one of the most popular questions that we have. That's a wonderfully visited FAQ on our website. Why don't you take insurance? Well, here's the reason. It's unethical. In 2 words, it's unethical. Because now, between me and you, as doctor-patient, now we have this uninvited, faceless, nameless third party between us saying what you can have and what I can do. Does that make sense at all? Nurse of 35 years? 35 years nurse. She's agreeing. Right? So why don't we take insurance? It's unethical. Well, yeah, but why can't insurance cover natural health? You don't want that. Because then you're getting the same problem, just in a different realm. Well, think about what you're asking. You put the government in charge of anything and it'll explode, it'll spontaneously combust without any help. So why would you want to put your insurance? No, what you're saying is you want somebody else to pay for your, that would be like saying, I want my car insurance to pay for my oil and my gas and my tires. What would people do? They would abuse their cars. Because if they're not paying for it, they wouldn't take care of it. So what do people do with their medical insurance? Same thing. They run the wheels off the car, the body, the temple, and then they ask somebody else to pay for it. Great. That's a recipe for slavery, FYI. Recipe for slavery. And you see what's going on. We'll talk more about that in a little while. Yeah, and this includes hospital births. This includes the whole 9 yards. I won't get into a bunch of stuff here. Women with kids, when the first word out of your mouth is, who should I call for my... How'd you know that? First words that come in here, they ask, do you know any natural pediatricians? Nope. They don't make them. There's no such thing. Do you know a natural pediatrician? Ever heard of one? They don't make them, do they? 35 years in nursing. She should have heard, if anybody was going to hear about it, she would have heard about it. Not me, right? So accident policies might be all you need. What do I mean by that? See the class, WellWorks, go to the WellWorks, the thing I showed you at the beginning, and go to the How Much Is Your Life Worth class. Watch pregnant moms, watch whole families of people that show you how to drop your insurance and save 20, 30 grand a year on premiums, deductibles, copays, and actually bring that money back to your homestead. And how much is your life worth? You can cancel your insurance, save a buttload of money, and actually put it into your body and into your kids and into your life and build your home and build your life and build your kids and your health instead of a new penthouse apartment for some Blue Cross Blue Shield executive. Revolutionary. It's crazy. Who thinks like that? I don't know. But understand, insurance only pays for drugs and surgery and the procedures that lead you to drugs and surgery. And understand that insurance codes do exist for vaccine injury. Go look them up. Just Google insurance codes for vaccine injury. They'll come right up. Oh, vaccines couldn't cause that. Really? The insurance companies don't agree with you. Go check it out. And then we won't get into this right now, but if you just need if you just want an accident policy to cover you if you slip and break an ankle or something like that, those are out there. And talk about that farther down the road. But I want to show you this short little video just to prove my point. So it's not just me saying this. You're hearing this from somebody who's been in the industry for a long time. Caveat. This is a Joe Rogan episode, a Joe Rogan Experience episode. I don't agree with everything the dude says, but he has a big platform. He brings on hard-hitting, butt-kicking people who talk about stuff that you're just not going to see on mainstream media. I don't agree with all the people he has on. I don't agree with, but you know what? It's hard to disagree with somebody who's been in the pharmaceutical industry doing what this guy's been doing forever. Now, here's what I mean. This guy saw the light and he saw what was going on in the industry, and his solution was to sell everyone cheaper drugs. So I don't agree with everything that people say that come on Joe Rogan. I don't want hate mail from playing a Joe Rogan Experience episode. It's just a lot of people can hear this out there, and it can wake up a lot of people. Second thing, I'll tell you the name of it right now. It's called Former Pharma Rep on Health Insurance Corruption and Pharmacies. Former, I know it's a mouthful, Pharma Rep on Health Insurance Corruption and Pharmacies. This is from Joe Rogan Experience, JRE 2079. If you just Google this guy's name, Brigham Bueller, he's a Mormon, Brigham Bueller. It's all over the internet. I mean, stuff like this is he's not the only dude saying this. But if you go to that comment, if you go to that video, I'm telling you, mark my words, you want an education? Read the comments under that video. There's tens of thousands of comments, and they're all, I'm a surgeon. Everything he says is right. I've run pharmacies for 45 years. Everything this guy says is right. I mean, it's nuts. You'll get an education just reading the comments. Ready, Jonathan? Let's kill that light too. Or these. Yeah, just that one, I guess. Yeah, that's fine.
The Joe Rogan experience.
Huberman gets into all that. Academia, there's tons of studies on this. So, and all, I think the main reason it's not adopted more often is they're just in the insurance model, right? They use the tool that's in their tool belt. And if that's not a tool in my tool belt, then I'm not going to talk about it, and I don't have time to do it. And that's where I see large language models and an evolving market allowing patients to get that education on their own. They don't have to wait to talk to a doctor, right? I will have a team of academics right there at your fingertips, proactively analyzing everything about you. And I would tell you, I talked about predictive, proactive, personalized, all that. Another one would be private. Private. You do not want this data in the hands of insurance companies. Listen to what Gary Brecka was telling you. He worked for the big insurance companies. He worked to assess your all-cause mortality risk and the risk profile to the insurance company, right? And so if let's just say in a miracle world, all of a sudden, Blue Cross Blue Shield rolls out a large language model to streamline your experience, and they want to tie into your wearables. The last person you want digging through your underwear drawer is the insurance company, because they're going to use it to limit your care, to limit what they cover, and to kick you off a plan, right? They're going to know when the chronic disease is coming, and they're going to charge you when they know they can monetize you. And then as soon as you reach a state where they can't, and that's the dangerous side of these large language models, and that's the dangerous side of the tool. And so a sword in the right hands is, one thing, and a sword in the wrong hands is a whole nother thing.
Jesus. I wonder if they are trying to do that. I wonder if these insurance companies are trying to.
They're for sure going to roll that out. Yeah, if they're not already. And that's the problem. Like when you have an insurance-based model, and that's where I would tell you, maintain the car outside of the system, right?
And the insurance-based large language models are going to ensure that you stay on these treatments because that's where they're profitable.
Correct. So there's the insurance company, and then we broke this down last time. Then there's the pharmacy benefit manager. Pharmacy benefit managers are a middleman between the insurance companies and big pharma, okay? And they were put in place to negotiate the price of pharmaceutical drugs for the average American because so many drugs were coming into the marketplace. The government couldn't get to and decipher what drugs make sense, what drugs don't make sense, what should we cover, what should we not cover. So they allowed pharmacy benefit managers to do that. Within a decade, the big insurance companies went out and acquired pharmacy benefit managers. Within a decade from that date, the pharmacy benefit managers began to negotiate rebates to themselves, not discounts to the patient. Okay? So, yeah, that's where I was trying to go with this. When I talked about $244 million in fraud in the state of Ohio, how? Where's the fraud? And the answer is the margins are made in the mystery. The more confusing the insurance companies can make it and the more convoluted they can make it, the more profits they can make. They have only a handful of levers they can pull to make money. So let's go over that. They can raise your copay. They can raise your deductible. They can raise your out-of-pocket expense. That's one lever. They can drive down the price of a drug that they buy at a wholesale price point. They can mark up the coverage of your care for your employer. Okay? And then they tier price. The pharmacy benefit manager gives a tier pricing. That tier pricing is not based on what drug is best for you. It is based on what drug is best for their financials. And so they prioritize drugs in a tier pricing under the misnomer to the American people that a tier 1 drug is the best drug and a tier 4 drug is not as good. right? But the truth is a tier 4 drug is not as profitable because there's a lesser rebate. And so let's go back to the insulin example. The average price of this insulin is $381 is what the Senate Finance Committee found. $381 on, I can't remember if it's Sanofi, I think, was their price. Out of that, the pharmaceutical company got less than $40. So that remaining $200-something stayed at the pharmacy benefit manager. Okay, pharmacy benefit managers are making billions upon billions of dollars a year. They decide what gets covered, what goes on your insurance plan, what your copay is, what your deductible is, and they can move any lever at any time. So examples, let's go back to GLP-1s, right? The weight loss diabetes medications. Those are showing up on insurance plans as tier 4 with a really high price tag. Well, you look at that and you go, man, wouldn't insurance companies want to get rid of that because it's costing them a lot? No, because they're showing that the price of a GLP-1 is $1,300. They never paid $1,300. They paid a fraction of that. But then they go to the patient and they say, hey, this is a tier 4 drug. You have a 50% copay on this drug, $500. Okay, so they made their money there. They made their money off the rebate from Big Pharma. Then
so
they
the
come to
patient pays more than they actually are paying for the drug.
Correct. That is what happens on most drugs.
And
And
that's
that is
just
why
the
I built a
copay.
compounding pharmacy.
Yeah.
And but even if they don't, let's say it's a drug that you think is covered. Okay. Maybe the pharmacy benefit manager got it wrong. A drug entered the market. They didn't know it was going to be a blockbuster. They miscalculated how this was going to play out. They have lever after lever they can pull. Okay, high margin drugs, they've gone out and bought pharmacies. So they own mail order pharmacies. And so what they'll do, like when I owned a pharmacy, Blue Cross Blue Shield, they literally said they owed me over $1 million for 1 month of shipping out drugs. I'd already shipped all the drugs to their patient. I'd already done everything. They come in and say, yeah, we're not going to pay you. We don't think you collected the copays or deductibles. Okay, well, we did. Here's all the records. I can show you how soon can you get an auditor out. We want to cooperate. Like, we're a small company. We need this money. It's 3 months before we can get to you. Okay, and then they begin to make it so hard for you to survive in their insurance model. And then you'll be sitting there and a couple months later, knock on the door. Hey, man, heard it's tough out there for these small pharmacies. You know, we're looking to acquire pharmacies just like you, right? They've gobbled up the lifeblood of America. They've put all these small pharmacies out of business. They now own most of these big juggernaut pharmacies. So even if CVS says, we only made $10 off that prescription, what did the pharmacy benefit manager make? Okay, or what is the pharmacy, your mail order pharmacy making? Lever after lever after lever. Then the last part of it is, my buddy who has MS, his MS treatment, I think, is $14,000 a month. We just met. I have 260-something employees across both organizations. We met with the insurance company. They're raising our rates because they claim they paid $14,000 a month for his drug, right? He had a huge out-of-pocket burden on that drug, but was happy because he thought, well, hey, man, it was going to be 14 and I only had to pay X. And then they never paid the 14 because they negotiated a rebate on the back end. And then they turn around and they mark up my insurance plan for all my employees every year, year after year. It is a profit-driven system, not a patient outcome-driven system. And so that's all I'm trying to hammer home with patients. When you say, why don't you take insurance? Because insurance is the crux of the problem. You cannot operate in that ecosystem and provide quality care. You can't. Everything's controlled. Everything's dictated. It's terrible.
And most people have no understanding or awareness of this. So there's no real push to fix this system. There's no real push to regulate and analyze all of these problems and what's the downstream effect of these problems.
Yeah, and I even hear clinicians talk. A lot of clinicians don't know. Like, a lot of clinicians don't even know about pharmacy benefit managers. The only reason I know is because I've been in every aspect of this business, and then I would get into it and I go, oh, Oh, God, that's why that was happening. Okay, now I get it. Now I get the magic trick. I understand what you're doing here, how you're moving and shifting profits and monetizing disease states. So think about this. If I can monetize your diabetes, why would I cure or prevent your diabetes? Right? And I know if I'm a bigwig at United or Cigna, that you're going to switch jobs in 3 years, and by the time that diabetes leads to metabolic disease and a cascade effect that puts you in a hospital that costs me more money, you're somebody else's problem. Or if I can stall it long enough, you're the federal government's problem. And so every aspect of healthcare is focused on that quarter, on that on that time frame. Another terrible example of surgery, and this is honest to God. I talked to my buddy who's a president at an orthopedic company. He told me he was sitting down with a surgery center about joints. And there's a new joint that they have, and it's more expensive, but the efficacy data of the long-term benefits on it astronomically outperform the other joint that this hospital system was using. He sat down with the CEO of the hospital, and he said, here's the data, 5 years out, here's what we're seeing, da-da-da-da-da. The CEO said, I don't give a shit what happens 5 years out. I swear to God, this is a call I had yesterday. He said he looked me in the eye, Brigham, and he said, if you told me that this joint will last at least 90 days and it's cheaper, that's all I care about.
Oh, my
Because
God.
all of their data and records and accountability are only on the first 90 days. Once you're out of that 90 day and you've done your little review and all that, you're off again and you're no longer a monetizable patient. And so, too, when we talk about primary cares and what's happened, the same thing with pharmacies where they've been gobbled up by insurance companies if they're in the insurance model is the same thing that happened with primary care practices. The day of a primary care being independent and a free thinker is over. They're employed by hospital systems. Major conglomerates have gone out and bought up the primary care practice. Why? Because now they have the patient population. If I can get you at the primary care level, then I can control the referral of where that primary care sends you as we profiteer off your disease state. Okay, so you go to a primary care. Let's just walk through the same example I gave earlier, a methylfolate test. They never run that test, right? There's genetics. The methylfolate test tells me my genetics, but there's epigenetics. The choices I make every day impact which genes turn on and which genes turn off. If nobody ever has a conversation with me in my 30s about my hormone levels, about getting into the sun, about eating right, and you push me towards chronic disease because you wrote me a prescription to treat a symptom, and now I go through this system and I get cancer, that primary care is going to refer me to an oncologist, and that oncologist is part of that same system, right? And most people don't know this. 65% of an oncologist's income comes from chemotherapy, from the markup they're making off your chemotherapy. 65%. And I attached that link, Jamie, too, where it talks about this. So all I'm getting at is Russell Brand said this, and he was spot on. Another guy who's not a clinician but understood what's going on here. If we make things about profits and quarterly earnings and big business and not patient outcomes, don't be shocked when we get phenomenal quarterly earnings and piss poor patient outcomes.
65%.
65. And I attached the link just so we'd have it.
So they have
Yeah.
a financial incentive.
So this is an article where they were trying to, the insurance companies were trying to incentivize them to use a generic in this instance, because this is one of those issues where there's no rebate and no way for the insurance company to monetize it. But it breaks down how much money these guys, 65% of an oncologist's income comes from that.
Wow. This is incredible.
And so I say all this again because I don't think that a clinician's to blame. I don't think that they're just operating in the system that they're given. They're playing with the playing field that's been set before them and the rules of the game that have been set before them.
So it's not just me saying it. You have to understand, it's not just me because I have a bone to pick with doctors and nurses. This is the system that is out there that people are falling for. They're wanting to get health care, but they're just revolved around into the system of dudes that play golf together on Saturdays. That's it. So if you want a real education, check out the comments on that video. Insurance companies, he said something right there. He mentioned the term wearables. I wanted to make sure everybody understood what he meant by that. What he meant by that is your iWatches and your implants and your glucose meters that are in the back of your arm and your patches that are all sending out Wi-Fi signals to the Internet of Things, all the wearables that people have, the implanted corneas and the Bluetooth pacemakers. Oh yeah. All the pacemakers nowadays are Bluetooth. The hearing aids are Bluetooth, for God's sake. They can put voices in your head from other countries. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when he says wearables, what he's saying is the insurance companies are going to be in charge of knowing what is your upcoming disease state. They can predict down, he mentioned Gary Brecka, who's a dude that's, I won't get into him right now, but he for years worked for insurance companies figuring out the days that people would die. Because if they know how many drugs you're on, they know how many surgeries you've had, they know how much you eat, they know everything about you, they can tell by monitoring your smart refrigerator, right? They can tell when you're going to die to within weeks and days and months. Finally, this dude woke up and went, what am I doing? Instead of focusing on life, I'm focusing on death. Because if the insurance companies can figure out when you're going to die, they know when to cut your coverage, right? And you've been paying premiums to this dude down the street from your house because you've been friends with him, you went to high school with him, you've been paying premiums to him for 35 years, only to get, right? I mean, insurance, it's a racket. What the guy's saying right there is it's a complete and total demonic crap fest, right? With people just profiting off of disease, profiteering off your disease. But if people woke up to that, would they quit their jobs and go look for something else? Likely not, unfortunately. But hey, we got to change people one day at a time. So the insurance companies knowing about your upcoming disease dates, how would they know that? Because they're monitoring. You paid for your own surveillance through your Apple Watch, and now they're looking at your blood pressure every day. We tell people, don't buy this crap. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Don't put the phone next to your head. Don't put your entire life on Facebook. We tell people, maintain the car outside the system, he said. I thought that was a good analogy. The more confusing it is, the more money they make. You ever read your explanation of benefits? Well, I went to this doctor, and he sent me to this lab, but this lab wasn't in network with my insurance, and then I had to go to another lab, but in order to go to that lab, I had to go to another doctor, and then I had another appointment, and then they sent me to an MRI place, an imaging place that wasn't in network. Why'd they do that? They know who's in network and who's not. Am I right or am I right? So the more confusing it is, the more money they make. Insurance and quality care. I want you to write this down. Everybody write this down. One sentence. If nothing else, I want you to get this. When you tell your people that you came here and you saw some quacky chiropractor talking about how evil the medical system is, I want you to just one sentence. Insurance and quality care cannot occur together. I will say it again. Insurance and quality care cannot occur. And they most certainly cannot occur together at the same time. So why don't we accept insurance? It's not that we don't accept insurance, it's that your insurance doesn't accept us. Said it for 10 years now. But it's unethical. Why don't we accept insurance? It's unethical. Just because you pay for it doesn't mean I have to accept it. Epigenetics, what he said there was what goes on and in your body affects your genetic expression, right? You might have bad genes, but just those bad genes may not get expressed if you eat the right foods. Wanted to explain that. Natural health, what he's talking about there, anything structural, chemical, emotional, like there's only 3 things that can kill you. He went into a little bit of, I won't spend much time on it. And when you see patient-centered care on all the billboards, this is #1 stroke center in the entire universe. Best stroke center, best heart center, best stroke center in the world. Understand the patient-centered care at the bottom, the little tagline, just replace that and write in your mind, write profit-driven, because it's not about patients. How do I know? Read an article on a pharmaceutical drug, and they will never tell you how many patients got cured. They will tell you their Q4 2023 sales reports. It's not about who gets better, it's about how much they make. So And 65% of your oncologist income is from chemotherapy. Go tell that to your aunts and your uncles and your sisters and your brothers who are all getting chemo next week. Go tell that to them, okay? One more thing is he mentioned you go to your primary care doctor and you do this and you do that and he refers you to an oncologist that's in the system. How many of you know that chiropractors, like myself, I'm a little bit more than a chiropractor though, just FYI, but we're primary care portal of entry physicians in all 50 states. They don't tell you that. Why? They don't want you to know. When you go and look for a doctor, they're saying, would you like an MD or a DO? That's it. Right or right? So DCs, you want sports physicals? I got you. You want me to check out your dog and cat? I got you. You want me to check your eyes? We got you. Right? Now, I can't say every chiropractor is going to do that, top to bottom, mind, body, spirit, soul, body, mind, will, and emotions. I can't say everybody's going to do the structural, chemical, emotional, because most of them don't. Over 99% of chiropractors don't adjust arms and legs. But last time I checked, your arms and legs are kind of a big part of your body. Most chiropractors only do necks and backs. We'll get to that. But that's just some stuff I wanted to cover to explain a few terms from that video that probably some of you weren't familiar with. Heidi, commercial break. Everybody give her a warm round of applause.
Alrighty, so this patient, she's been here about a couple months, and she said, my hair was falling out and my fingernails were soft and broke easily. Now my hair has stopped. My hair loss has stopped. My fingernails and hair are growing like crazy. What a difference 1 month can make.
1 month.
Great. Awesome.
She would be at a dermatologist and an endocrinologist getting thyroid meds and probably a bunch of corticosteroid creams to rub on her skin. And none of it would help her, and it would all make her sicker. But what was the problem? Was it, I don't even know who that was, but what was the problem? Her skin and her nails and her hair were falling apart. So what were the problems? Food. Period. Full stop. End of sentence. There you go. That's how simple it is. That's too complicated for most people, man. They want their specialists. Let's check out some memes and laugh. Awesome. Netflix will just pump septic waste straight into your living room. And people pay a subscription every month for that crap. People pay a subscription. I still can't believe people pay for cable. I still can't believe it. $100 a month for sewage just pumped. I've said it for years. They pump sewage right into your family room. And then here's a meme. Somebody at the Babylon Bee came up with it. I love it. Next. That look I give to an obese mask-wearing triple jab normie who advises me on being healthy. Yeah, don't you talk to me. No. I'll read this for the nosebleed section. Your doctor got into and got through medical school not because they were smart, but because they had the ability to memorize and repeat huge amounts of raw data. Memorizing that much info left little time for actual critical thought. It created the perfect, credible drone army to regurgitate corporate pharmaceutical propaganda with zero critical thinking. You live in a society today where you can download a large learning model, like what he was talking about. You can download an AI doctor on your phone that can pass the U.S. medical licensing test. What are they going to do? They're going to replace your doctors, your teachers. They're going to replace everybody with AI, because what's the AI going to spit out? All of this raw data, huge amounts of raw data. It's already in the works. So all these kids that are in medical school right now, you better become a surgeon, because the radiologists are going to be gone. The oncologists are going to be gone. The family practice, internal medicine docs are going to be gone, because it's all AI now. It's right here. You can have it on your phone. That's how stupid this thing is. It's not wisdom, it's intelligence. And that's just crunching raw data. So the AI is going to go out there and figure out which drug to give you. Based on what? They're going to have your genetics. So they're going to custom make the drugs for your genetics, which means they will control your mind. Next. This is one of my favorite memes of all time. This guy saying they brainwashed you. That's definitely one of my top 1,000 memes. Me trying to understand how people can go back to trusting the mainstream media and medicine after everything we've been through the last 3 years. Yep, just about right. Number 4, you ready? Convert your dollars in preparation for hyperinflation, CBDCs, and dollar devaluation. What do I mean by that? Your retirement and bank accounts may be seized for speaking or saying the wrong thing on social media or in real life as your phone is listening to you right now. Voting for the wrong person or even being near the scene of a disturbance, political rally, or peaceful protest. There are people who've been out there who've been busted for being in an area where there was a rally going on, political rally that nobody should have been going to, right? Or a peaceful protest, and they arrested the guy, and they're like, you were there, but it turns out that his nephew took his phone and went and did some shenanigan hooligan stuff, and they traced the phone and found out that, they thought the guy was there because it was his phone. Well, turns out his nephew stole his phone and the guy almost went to prison because the location of his phone. So my point is, don't get too dependent on your phones. And at the same time, convert your money, I should say, in a way where they can't shut you off. How do you do that? You watch The Root of All Evil Part 1, you watch The Root of All Evil Part 2, and then if you still are interested in understanding what to do, how to get out of this control system, you let us know at the front desk and we'll walk you through it. But your phone's location could get you in trouble, even if you're not there. So what do? You know how to use these things. Know how to use a big bank, know how to use a small bank, know how to do a wire transfer. If you've never done it, do it. Figure out how to do it. Send a friend of yours $500 or whatever makes sense. Wire transfers cost $25 or $40 or depending on your bank or whatever. But make sure you understand how to do this stuff. Know how to use Bitcoin, know how to use a Bitcoin exchange, know how to use a Bitcoin wallet. I can teach you all of this stuff in 20 minutes if you watch all the classes that I just mentioned. And then peer-to-peer, person-to-person Bitcoin payments like River or Strike. If you're not familiar with River or Strike, there will be a day soon, probably this year, where anybody walking in the front door, you're paying us some Bitcoin or you're not getting service. There will be a day. And it will be a simple, easy way where you just put in your account stuff into like a thing like Strike or River. You send us dollars. You don't have to buy Bitcoin. You just put in dollars and it comes to us in Bitcoin, and nobody knows anything the wiser. There's going to come a day because the dollars are going bye-bye. They are moving towards a central bank digital currency. They're going to steal your retirement. They're going to steal your savings. They're going to shut off your checking account. They're going to shut off your credit card. And then what are you going to do? You have to have a way of transacting outside of the current financial system, which how many of you have heard anything in the last week about Bitcoin exchange traded funds, ETFs, being allowed on the market? Has anybody heard anything about that? It's a big deal. And I'm not saying I'm a big fan. I'm not an ETF guy. But now Bitcoin is going to be offered in retirement plans and IRAs and 401ks. I mean, the government, they can't shut it down. It's a beautiful thing. So you have to understand this right here. Don't be distracted by all the other coins and all the other stupidity out there. But you have to understand how to work some of these things. You should all have one of these and one of these. You should know how to do that. This might be new to most people, but this right here is another option for people. If they don't, if they don't want to use their credit cards, because we're going to start charging credit card fees here. Sorry, I'm breaking it to you guys first. We're going to start that February 1st, putting 3.5 on everything that's a credit card. I'm tired of the credit card companies. I'm tired of the banks. I'm tired of the government. So Venmo or Cash App, you can pump it right out of your bank account. And that's like giving us cash. It's the same thing. But they control that too. So if you piss off Venmo or you piss off Cash App, guess what? You're right here. If your bank shuts you down, like what happened last year in March, April, May, June, where the banks were shutting people out of their credit cards and their savings accounts and your retirement account, right, Mom? You go to buy a house, you can't get your money. Guess what? Right? So, but you also ought to learn, okay, well, my husband won't allow me to do Bitcoin. Fine. Buy silver, buy gold, buy something. Learn how to do a metal, learn how to at least purchase a little bit of precious metals. Besides the, copper and lead type of precious metals, there's silver and gold precious metals out there too. Do something to get away from dollars before they print them out of existence, okay? And then the other things too, you ought to see Root of All Evil, Part 1 and Part 2, and then you ought to learn about the Federal Reserve. You ought to learn about fractional reserve banking. Maybe check out the book, Creature from Jekyll Island. It's not a short read, but if you just read the end of chapter summaries, you can do it in like an hour. And that book will teach you more about the American financial system than you'll ever want to know. And then you'll look and go, oh, that's how they printed billions of dollars during the COVID hoax. That's how they locked everyone down. That's how they put up 5G towers 20 feet apart from each other in every city across the United States in a matter of 2 weeks. Huh? While everybody was locked down in their house, you didn't notice they were putting up 5G towers everywhere to track and control and trace everything, including the crap they pumped in your veins. So the 5G towers, we'll get to 5G here in a minute, because that's actually one of the things that you need to understand. So learn about the Federal Reserve, all that stuff. Learn what money is. You cannot starve the beast when you keep feeding it with your taxes and with your 401ks and your IRAs. And I know this is a lot, but hey, this class is how to escape the matrix. It's a lot. So if you don't control your money, you don't control your life, period. Next. Filter your water. Your body's made of what, 70 or 80% water, depending on who you ask. Why? Why do you have to filter your water? Fluoride. Fluoride. They're poisoning it. They're putting it in the municipal water supply. They've been doing it since 1945 in Grand Rapids, Michigan was the first place they did it in the United States. How do I know? Because I'm from there. Fluoride. See, well works, you're full of it. It's a class, you're full of it, like water, right? Miscellaneous contaminants, if you want to know about that, see the well works, the antidote that we did for starters, that will blow your mind. But that's not a class on our website, that's a class. Get the link from Nadia if you haven't seen that yet. If you didn't come to that movie night, which we've done 8 or 10 movie nights, we just put a movie on here and it's an hour, 2-hour documentary, something that you're never going to see because it's not going to be commercially available. It's behind paywalls and stuff like that. Check that one out. You can get the link and go see it. Just ask Nadia. Watch it at your house. Watch it at home. Other problems. Well, I'm on a well. Well, I've got deionized water. Well, I do alkaline water. Well, I do distilled water. Well, I do bottled water. Watch the class. The structured water you consume, people are always talking about structured water. If you know about water, you're looking for this. You ought to consume all your structured water primarily from your plants. If you eat more plants, guess what plants are made of? Primarily water. So if you eat a lot of plants, guess what you're not going to be drinking? You're not going to be carrying around a gallon jug of water all day. You get the water the way God intended from the plants that he created. At the very least, filter your drinking and cooking water and then add a filter to your shower. No, you do not need a $12,000 whole house reverse osmosis unit. Watch the class, it'll tell you more. See Nadia if you have questions about what stuff we use. Number 6, filter your air. 4 years ago, faceless strangers on television made the world afraid of something invisible that has never been proven to actually exist. If you don't know what I'm talking about, what do you mean it doesn't exist? Get the link from Nadia for the WellWorks where we discussed germ theory versus terrain theory. And then also check out the chemtrail stuff that we did in a class in the WellWorks class on our website, Hands in the Air. But you got to filter your air. They're trying to kill you. This right here, we did not televise this. That is a link. Get the link from Nadia. And then here is, don't look up the word chemtrails on Google. If you want to know the truth about like what's going on, you got to look up what the government calls it, geoengineering. If you look up chemtrails, they'll tell you it's a conspiracy theory. If you look up geoengineering, it'll show you the government patents. Because the government's doing it, and you're paying for it, right? Germ theory, terrain theory, what's the problem? What's it mean? This is how the medical system works. This is how the real world functions. See the problem? Most people live in this paradigm where they're afraid of germs. So what do? Vaccinate all the fish. But here, the whole premise is, why don't we just clean the tank? The fish are getting toxic. They're eating their own poo. So bad food, bad air, bad water. See the problem? But they're tricking you. Everybody gets sick, and they go, oh, yeah, well, we got to put more toxins in you for your own peace and safety, right? For your own good. So the germ theory versus terrain theory, people look at this and they go, what? Well, yeah, all of medicine was started by Louis Pasteur, but this right here was proposed by Antoine Béchamp, dude you never read about in grade school, high school, or college. Did a whole class on it. This right here is what won the day, which is why all your milk is pasteurized. Louis Pasteur is named after, his pasteurization comes from Louis Pasteur, which is why your milk is cooked, which is why kids have milk allergies now, which is why we do stuff I can't say on camera, ask me later, but you can get good stuff here that will not kill you or your kids. And we don't make a dime off of it. We just make it available to people from the people who bring it. We'll talk about that later off camera. Next. Here's a picture that we took the other day. Still don't believe chemtrails? Guess what, folks? Here's a picture right outside our office, right out here, just outside this door. That was last Thursday, 10:30 in the morning. Beautiful bluebird, Colorado bluebird skies. Beautiful. Only in Tennessee. Chemtrails, checkerboards, government and private aircrafts dumping chemicals in the skies to block out the sun, to change the weather, a lot of other things. People still don't believe. But you can hop on government websites and see the patents, see the planes, see the pictures, see the meteorologists talking about the planes spraying and seeding the clouds for rain. And then here it is, an hour and a half, 2.5 hours later, and you're wondering why we had crappy weather. They control the weather, people, right? That's the climate change that they're making you pay for. These atheist reptilian pedophiles that run this nonsense are making you think that your SUV is causing this, but really, this is causing this. That's the climate change that they're making you, that they're taxing you to death for. Right? Perfect. Oh, and that post blew up, absolutely blew up on Facebook the other day. It's probably like hundreds of comments. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, moving on. Oh, and if you want to see, you want to know what we use, you want to see the unit right here in the hall, what we use, yada, yada, ask Nadia. Number 7, remove all chemicals from your surroundings. Watch the Wellness Workshop, You're So Filthy, and watch all the Wellness Workshop events for Young Living essential oils. That's what we use here. We use them topically to cover ourselves, to keep all the EMF garbage and all the crazy, genetically modified crap that the government's spraying away from us, topically. Orally, we ingest oils, and we put it in our environment so that it keeps all the demons away. 2-legged and 4-legged. There's a lot of them. But people are tricked into paying for their own nerve gas because Luciferian scientists made it smell really good. What do I mean by that? That's a quote. Yes, you can quote me on that, Jane. I know you probably wanted to quote me. What do I mean by that? A, laundry. Detergent, fabric softeners, pillow sheets, blankets, clothes, mattress covers. I have a funny story about a mattress cover. Somebody came in, she and her son, and Toby, I love you. But she came in and she had been struggling with this respiratory nasal funk, eyes burning, coughing, raspy cough, waking you up at night. And she's like, I don't know what I did. What's happening? I said, what'd you change? You're doing great. What'd you change? Nothing. What'd you change? You were doing great. Now everything sucks. What'd you change? I didn't change anything. What'd you change? I didn't change anything. Okay, here, let's do this. Go home. By the time you get home, it'll come to you. She calls back later. I'm working on somebody else. Nadia says, Toby figured it out. I was like, what is it? Mattress covers. She didn't wash mattress covers. She got them from, where's everything made? So you come home, you put the Chinese crap on your bed. If you don't wash it, because the other thing was, in a point in her favor, her washer, she said her washer was on the fritz, I do believe. So she didn't wash the mattress cover. She thought, you put the mattress cover on, you put the sheet, should be fine, right? What are you doing all night long? If you wash everything in this, and you sleep on this and this and this, and then all day long you wear these that were washed all in this and this, what kind of problems are you going to have? Sinus problems, coughing problems, red eye. See commercials on TV for red eye, don't you? Interesting. Wonder what could cause that. But then you're breathing, you have allergies, you have asthma, you have sinus problems, you have, stuff you can't breathe, hoarseness, right? I wonder why. Well, toxic. Remember the kids eating the Tide Pods? Killing them? Wonder why, right? All that stuff will kill you dead. D-A-D, dead. Pillows, sheets, blankets, clothes, mattress covers. So she called, and Nadia said, yeah, it's mattress covers. I was like, never thought about it, because, you don't see them. They're under your sheets. My point is, made in China. You might want to wash them, dry them out, fan them, let them sit, let them evaporate, put them on, put the sheet over, maybe wrap everything in plastic, and then sleep on it. Anyway. Funny stuff. But they off-gas. And you've got all the stuff. You've got this off-gassing in your closet all day, in your bedroom all day. You turn on your dryer. You walk outside. The whole neighborhood smells like Downy, right? You smell it miles away. So don't tell me it's not toxic, right? The trees would leave if they could. They can't. But from the bathroom towels on your face to your clothes off-gassing on you and in your face all day long, don't be surprised if you got breathing problems. What's the other problem with all the chemicals in your surroundings? Next, air fresheners. Glade, Renews It, Febreze, all the candles. They even love you so much they poison your trash bags. So that when the trash bags go to the landfill, they're polluting the landfill with the damn trash bag. They spray trash on the trash bags, and people pay for it. Nuts. Nuts. Cosmetics. Ladies, don't hate me. I'm just the messenger. But all the hair stuff, hair, skin, and nails, notice that this is all the stuff that we just talked about with the, right? Hair, skin, and nails. Shampoo, conditioner, yes, hair dyes soak into your brain. They soak into your blood supply. If you come and do a hair dye, dark red, dark purple, dark gray, dark black, something dark blue, something like that, come and we'll do a foot spa, and I'll show you the same exact color in the water as what's on your head. Because it gets into your blood supply. How does it not? Right? Shampoo, conditioner, hair dyes, treatments. Ladies, just go gray. It's not worth poisoning yourself and getting dementia 25 years early. It's just not worth it. Skin. All the makeup, the lotion, the sunscreen, the deodorant, the patches, all the patches. Doesn't matter what kind of patches. Just don't put stuff on your skin that's going to pump stuff into your body. Nails, polish, glues, remover, and other chemicals. Perfumes and colognes. Botox fillers, vein treatments, and implants. Did a class one time where I talked about the 3 ways they fix varicose veins. You don't want any of them. Oh, and implants, IUDs, breast implants. If it doesn't belong in your body, it's going to cause big problems the longer it's there, period. Full stop. So the only chemical in our home, Drano. It goes right down the drain, eats up the hair. That's the only chemical I have in my house. I'm dead serious. I'm not a salesman for Drano. I'm not a big plumber, and I would rather just, hair gets in the drain, you give the dog a bath, something like that, gets all clogged up, Drano, Drano, Drano. I'm not drinking it. It's not going on my skin, on or in my body. It's going down the drain. And then my neighbors get to drink it. So, but the only time we have Drano, we're feeling squirrely, we want to do a couple shots on Saturday, we just hit the Drano. God, tough crowd. Drano. Remove worry about pets and kids if you don't have poison in your house. Ding, 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 right? And then ozone unit for washer to eliminate. You want to get rid of the detergent and stuff like that? We've got an ozone unit. Ask Nadia what it is. Yeah, you can get rid of your detergent and just wash your clothes with stuff that takes out the scent and takes out everything with no detergent. They're wonderful. But we do a lot of laundry here. We do a ton of laundry because of the sauna and the towels and stuff. So it may not be right for you. But just keep in mind what goes in and on your body. Right, Heidi? Come on up.
Alrighty. So this patient's been here about 2 years, and she said, before coming to Divine Design, my skin looked terrible. My face was always breaking out and left me feeling embarrassed all the time. Now my skin looks great, and I get compliments on it often. I haven't had any more issues with it since coming to Divine Design, and for that I am super thankful.
Oh, wow. Take that, dermatologists. Let's check out some, they say, chemtrails aren't real. Oh, God. That's one of my favorites. I don't know. It's just kind of funny how we always have money for foreign aid, even though we're $33 trillion in debt. You know why that is? You can't have foreign wars, and you can't prop up other countries and sell them the weapons that you're giving them money to buy if you don't print the money out of thin air. And if they're printing money out of thin air, remind me why I'm paying taxes? Next. Isn't it neat how we pretend this isn't happening? Yep. How close humanity is to understanding that their governments are organized criminals. We're not even talking about the pedophiles. We're just talking about the government. Football team loses. Ah! Government destroys your business, family, and health. Bah! People that scream for sports ball games. Sports ball. I have to, so-and-so's got to win. So-and-so's got to win. Bread and circuses. Number 8. Ditch all your over-the-counter and prescription, RX, pharmacia medications. Medications, what do I mean by that? I have to be very specific because people think medications are just pills and capsules. No. Medications are potions, lotions, creams, troches, the little wax things they put in your butt to dissolve for hormones. It's like, who comes up with this stuff? I'll tell you who came up with it. Nazi scientists is who came up with it. Potions, lotions, creams, troches. Ladies, if you're doing hormone replacement stuff, I'm telling you, it's sick. It's crazy. But people don't think it's drugs. It's not. I've had people come in here. They've been here, patients, for a year or two. Like, what's going on? We cannot break the skin thing. What is going on? I've never seen something like this last so long. What else are you putting on your skin? Just the cream. What kind of cream? Corticosteroid? You didn't tell me that. How long you been doing that? 10 years. Well, why didn't you tell me you were doing a drug on your... Oh, is that a drug? They don't know. They just don't know. They think drugs... God, TV has done a number on people, man. They think drugs are capsules and tablets, pills. They don't think that a drug can come in any of these forms. It's mind-blowing. Not their fault. They just weren't thinking it, right? Steroids. Those can come in capsule, tablet, cream, or needles, needle form, right? And I'm not talking anabolic stuff. I'm talking corticosteroids, like bone on bone, fake knee pain. They just steroid, a couple years later, they're coming to take your knee. Birth control pills, oral contraceptives, right? All your daughters, 10, 12 years old, put on a bunch of pharmakia, witchcraft, Rumpelstiltskin medicine to stop their acne or some stupid crap. And then 20 years later, they're wondering why they're sterile. Well, they got some birth control pills from Planned Parenthood. That's what happened. Over-the-counter stuff. I don't care if it's aspirin. I don't care if they put the word baby in front of it. I don't care if it's hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin or any of the crap that people in the Patriot community are supporting to get from, to stay away from the COVID hoax. The ivermectin and the hydroxychloroquine are made by who? Big Pharma. Pharmaceutical companies, people. What is your problem? Wake up. Let's stay away from medication by buying more medications. It doesn't make any sense. Synthetic megadosed nutraceuticals from stores and internet functional medicine doctors. If you're buying a tablet of vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams, that's what I'm talking about. Injectables. I'll run through the rest of the stuff real quick. Vaccines are going to be called, from here on out, at some point, they're either going to be called prevention injections, they're going to call them biologics. They're not going to call them vaccines anymore because people have figured it out that it's not a vaccine. Biologics, that's what insurance companies call them, biologics. Stem cells, they call them biologics because it's biological material in the stuff. Prevention injections, they'll change because they changed the definition of vaccine with the COVID hoax, right? Allergy shots, I'm still here. Don't forget, allergy shots. Oh, I take my kid to get those allergy shots once a month. That's an injection, right? You want to be dependent on that, especially when it's all mRNA and it's all... What country is it all coming from again? Wait, say it again. China. Insulin, all your insulin people, all your diabetics, right? Trigger point injection, steroid shots, IV hydration. We got one right down the street, IV hydration. If you get too hungover and you want a hangover remedy, they'll come right to your house, come right to your office, boom, shoot you with needles. What is natural that goes through a needle that needs to be in your body? Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Nothing. Injectables. Hate to tell you, ladies, Botox ain't natural, right? All the ozone crap, it's not natural. It's not natural. Nothing that goes into a needle and into your body is natural. Ever. And then right here, all your prescription stuff. What's in the prescription medications? Oh, let me save you a whole lot of work. Heavy metals, chemicals, snake venom, spider venom, Gila monster venom, you name it. Ozempic. Look up Ozempic. You want to know what's in Ozempic? Go check it out. Gila monster. Just type into Google. Nah, not Google. DuckDuckGo, whatever. Type in Ozempic and Gila monster. G-I-L-A. Brave browser, yes. G-I-L-A, Gila monster, venom, Ozempic. Your aunts and uncles and cousins are on Ozempic, by the way. And figure out where they get that drug. Animal blood components. Animal blood components. You want to look it up? I will look up any drug, any vaccine, anything that you bring in here. I will look it up and I'll show you what's in it. It's easy to find. Aborted human fetus components. Sounds appetizing, doesn't it? And don't think that they did this without performing a ritual over the babies 40 years ago when they harvested them. If that truly is what it is. If it's truly human. You get what I mean? Anyway, and then human plasma. If you saw the New Age for Old Devils, human plasma, the stuff that I mean, there's documentaries out there showing that the human plasma, they're putting it in the drugs. They're putting the human blood in the drugs to feed to the humans. You can't make this up. And then mRNA, all the stuff that's happening. You want to know more about that? Watch the WellWorks classes, The Roots of Your Pharmakeia Healthcare. Watch The Cult of Modern Death Care, which we have a nice little movie poster right there. Watch New Age for Old Devils, and if you specifically want to know what's in the shots and how the vaccine back in the days of Edward Jenner in the late 1800s, when they figured out the whole smallpox thing and what happened to hijack the vaccine idea into a hypodermic needle, it was a brand new invention that Edward Jenner did not have back in the day, or Edward Jenner, back in the day. If you want to understand what the difference is between when vaccines were first invented and what's happening now, you will want to check that out. And that is the class where we go through the children's vaccine schedule from the Centers for Disease and Creation and Control. Moving in to the very final. This is not the very final, but we're getting to the very final. I promise we'll have you out of here by 9:30. Cut everything that says free, low, or no. Cut free, low, or no everything. That's whether it's sugar-free, fat-free, low sugar, no fat, low fat, no fat, no sugar. Cut anything that says, because if it says that in the title, what does it mean? It means it's been tampered with. It means man has changed it. So eat everything you've ever been told that was bad for you. They made you afraid of raw milk. They cooked it. They pasteurized it. They told you were going to get salmonella from it. You dropped dead. I'm pretty sure humans lived on raw milk for about 6,000 years. And if it wasn't bovine, it was camel. So I'm pretty sure people trekked across deserts with cattle and camel milk. I'm pretty sure. You won't find it in history books, though, because they want you to be deathly afraid of that. Salt, the first nutritional supplement in history, the most abundant mineral in the human body, and they want to make you afraid of it so that your head doesn't pop off your shoulders from high blood pressure. Eggs. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Chicken, which is exactly why they don't want you to have the eggs, right? The most healthy, next to this, it's the most healthy food there is. Think about it. God created this thing that you can barely crush, that comes out of a chicken's butt, that you can carry with you and cook on a sidewalk. I mean, it's pretty hardcore. And they want to make you insanely afraid of eggs because they raise your cholesterol. Red meat, butter, pastured chickens, wild caught fish, vegetables, all of the stuff that they're telling you to be afraid of, they're liars. They're liars. They're absolute liars. And the vegetable stuff, I want to make sure people understand that gluten allergies, gluten intolerance doesn't even exist. What does exist is glyphosate sensitivity. Glyphosate's Roundup, and we won't get into that. There's a whole class on it. Watch WellWorks, The Truth About Vegetarianism. Once again, though, with everything we're talking about, cut the free, low, no, everything. Watch what goes in and on your body. Everything. Makeup, shampoo, conditioners, food, anything on or in. That's why we only use the best essential oils that go on and in our bodies, right? That's why everything that we do, everything we eat, you have to be careful of your food. They're trying to get you to eat crickets and lab-grown meat. Don't believe me? Look it up. Number 10, cut the packaged foods. Now, this is different than the low-fat, no-fat, low sugar, no sugar thing. Cut anything in a package. The bags, the cans, the boxes. Why would I do that? Because it's genetically modified organisms. Or what they're calling now BE. Isn't it interesting? They want it to call it BE. Because everybody's wising up to GMO, so they got to relabel it. What do they relabel it? B. BE. Just B. It's called bioengineered ingredients. So now you read the packages, it doesn't say genetically modified cornstarch. Now it says all products in this package are bioengineered. Yep. All your Starbucks lattes, bioengineered. But why would we watch out for bags, cans, and boxes? Because if it's in a bag or a can or a box, there's got to be chemicals to preserve it, which means they took the life out of it and had to put chemicals in there to preserve it so that it could be on a store shelf for a long time. So, one state to the next, so they could charge you for the advertising and the shipping and the diesel and the driver and everything else because it's processed food. You just eat closer to home and you'll save a buttload of money. See how we can put a buttload of money back in your pocket? Instead of you spending $12 at Starbucks every day, guess what? We get you eating real food. You don't want the Starbucks anymore. Saves you a bunch of money. Plus, you don't have cancer at 25. Bill Gates is doing the appeal thing. Remember Bill Gates, our friend, that's trying to get more vaccines, more Planned Parenthood, and more health care for everybody? Remember that? Back in 2010, when he did a TED Talk and said, if we reduce one of these to 0, we can decrease the population. Remember that guy? The same guy doing appeal, and he's the same guy pumping millions of dollars into lab-grown meat and insect powders. They're going to call the meat cultured meat. That's how they'll hide it. And bioengineered stuff. So there are only, keep this in mind too, there are only, in the whole nation, there's only 4 meat packing plants.
Now.
Right. 4. That's the processed meat. That's the crap. That's the crap you buy in the store. There's also only 10 companies that control 90% of your food supply. So remember what goes on in your body. We've laid out a chart. I don't know what class it was in, but we showed the chart. Nabisco, Nestle, Heinz, and it was all the different brands. Somebody did a wonderful job putting that thing together, and it was just 10 little companies that controlled all of it. All the crap in the grocery store. All the crap that your nieces and nephews and grandkids are eating. The pizza, the crackers, the goldfish, all that crap. All that crap. Number 11. We're almost there. Learn to eat vegetables. This is easy. See the what works. What do I eat? It's the number 1 question we get here. Well, if I can't eat bread, what am I supposed to eat? Go watch this class. Don't be afraid of green vegetables and nightshades. Nowadays, everybody's going to tell you, watch out for the oxalates. Watch out for the oxalates. I did a video on the other day. It's probably on Instagram or Facebook telling you about the oxalates. Don't worry about them. Yeah, don't be afraid of that. And today, by the way, congratulations, pat on our back. Today is day 6 or 7 of the purification for everybody here in the office, right? Today's day 6. Today's day 6 of the purification that we're doing for us at Divine Design. Whole practice doing it. A lot of patients are doing it. So remember, speaking about the vegetables and stuff, everything that goes in and on your body, pay attention. Number 12, find local meat, eggs, and raw milk from local farmers. Why would I say that? Well, because it's available here. We can save you a whole lot of time and energy, and we don't mark anything up. We're not making any money off the meat, the eggs, the raw milk, any of that. We're just connecting local farmers with people who need the food because we care about your existence. That's all. We're not trying to mark up the eggs. I mean, there may come a day where we have to. I don't know. I can't say it's always going to be that way, but that's the way it is now. If you are not currently getting your eggs or your milk here, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know what's wrong with you because it's all right here. You don't even have to go to the store. You just meet us in a dark alley out by the dumpster, and we'd be glad to hand you some food. Oh, God. But we can hook you up with CSAs, local farmers, other resources. We're the Weston A. Price chapter leader for Cleveland. And remember, mark my words right here, because when they start dumping over train cars and they start Deweying the farmers and when they start going after the farmers, grab your guns and go after the suits. All the DC people are trying to kill you. I'm telling you. The Richmond, north of Richmond, are trying to kill you. And when they go for the farmers, grab your guns. Right, kids? Grab your guns. Yes, commercial break, and we're almost done.
Alrighty, so this patient, she's been here about 5 years, and she said, my 7-year-old daughter was told at her last dental appointment that she needed a filling and a root canal within 3 months. She also had an abscess. Dr. Brett started her on a pulse and supplement regimen, and my daughter no longer needs those procedures. Her cavities are healing, and she no longer has pain and no more abscesses.
Did that say 7-year-old? They wanted to do a root canal? Do you have a name? Oh, jeez. A 7. God. I don't know if I knew that. Okay. Wow. Anyway, it's not just the medical doctors, folks. It's the dentists, right? All right, let's laugh. Wake up, America, your food's banned in 30 countries. God. Oh, God. Oh, I love it. Vegans combining 5+ carcinogens and 10+ industrial chemicals to make food instead of just eating an egg. Oh, I love that. It's Breaking Bad. Oh, this is epigenetics. If you all want to know what epigenetics is, epigenetics is the stuff that goes in or on your body that changes the expression of your genes. So, genetics load the gun means, yeah, you have the ability to express disease states in your tissues, but processed food, environmental toxins, nutrient deficiencies, stress, and unresolved trauma pull the trigger. I don't know how many people come in here and they're like, my mom had breast cancer, my dad had Alzheimer's. Yeah? Doesn't mean you're going to have it, unless you get some atheist with snakes on his name tag pronouncing a demonic curse over you that you align with and that you accept into your life. That's how it happens a lot of times. Yeah. Next. I said this at the beginning. I wanted to put a period at the end of the sentence. No one said taking out a 6,000-year-old death cult would be easy. That was not the laughter that meme deserves. That's Bohemian Grove, I will have you know. That is a 40-foot tall owl made out of stone that these politicians go out there and worship in the northern redwoods of California that's been documented for decades. Bohemian Grove, look it up. Next. That's an owl. Oh, and you know what the owl's name is? Go back to that. You know what the name of the owl? Owl. It's a 40-foot tall stone owl, yes. Bohemian Grove. God, you guys, oh, you have so much to learn. So much to learn. Moloch. Name of the owl? Moloch. Huh, where'd you hear that name before? Where'd the name Moloch come from? Interesting. Next. It's funny to me that people think it's germs causing them to fall ill, not the pesticides, herbicides, glyphosate, Teflon, fluoride, plastics, forever chemicals, seed and vegetable oils, artificial sweeteners, flavors, colors, chemicals, GMOs, antibiotics, EMF radiation. We'll get there. Toxins, parasites. We'll get there. And carcinogens they encounter every day in their food, drink, water supply, skin, and body care products and environment. They just make you think it's a virus. Everybody's sick. Must be a brand new variant. No, they've been poisoned. Crazy. So, number 13, take supplements. Why? Because you got to rebuild your body. And guess what? You ain't eating liver no more, like Granny and Grandpa. You ain't eating liver. You ain't eating kidneys. You ain't eating eyeballs. You ain't eating brain. Right? No. Why? You just eat the meat. Meat. I'm a meat and potatoes man. Yeah, that's why your kidneys are falling out, right? So take your supplements. Store-bought stuff will kill you. Everything we sell here is safe, and it's whole food, plants and animals, right? So if we got something that we want to help your kidneys, we feed you animal kidney in a capsule or a tablet to rebuild what? Your kidney. It's the only way it happens. How do we fix people's eyeballs? We feed them supplements with eyeballs. It's the only way it happens. It does not happen. A vegetarian eats plants and falls apart. Has anyone in here ever seen a healthy vegetarian? No, I've never actually seen a real vegetarian because they don't exist. They just eat bread and cake and candy and pasta and noodles and soy. They don't really eat vegetables, which is what vegetarian means, right? So somebody's tissues are falling apart, their skin is falling off, their hair is falling out because they don't have any protein. Why? Because they're not eating animals. They're eating plants. Because they came up with a better idea than the creator who created them. They thought, I'm going to eat a different diet that's only plants because I don't want to kill the animals. Right? So vegetarianism came from, remember we talked at the very beginning about atheism, monotheism, or polytheism? Which one of those did vegetarianism come from? Polytheism. Hinduism. Want to know the truth about vegetarianism? Watch The Truth About Vegetarianism. Take supplements. Why? Because all the store-bought stuff is from China. Drugs, supplements, and vaccines come from our number one enemy. What could go wrong? Want to know why everybody's commie? It starts on the inside, man. And you cannot name a single disease that lacks a nutritional origin. And we here cannot name a single disease that cannot be reversed if you get to it early enough. Amen or amen? So see what works. What's in those supplements to get a little bit more understanding on that. And we only sell healthcare professional only stuff. You're not going to find it on a store shelf, and you're not going to find it just on random websites. So what goes on in your body? What goes on and in your body, once again, supplements. Number 14, 5G and EMF radiation. Towers appeared everywhere in 2020, right? Gosh. No one asked for 5G. Whatever happened to, what do they call it? Fiber optic. Whatever happened to that? Your internet speed didn't increase after they installed the towers. Strange. Here come the smart cities, Chattanooga being one of them. And in 1969, now we have all these crazy towers around, but in 69, 50 years ago, somebody called the moon from 250,000 miles away. If you believe that. Whole classes on that. But the 2020 thing, the 5G and the EMF, it's a weapon system. They have the Bluetooth earbuds, hearing aids, pacemakers, implants, computers, tablets, phones, watches. If you just pull up a Wi-Fi meter in your house, you'll see 30 devices because everything's talking to everything. Your dishwasher does not need internet access. I promise you. You don't need a smart house. Clothing, sheets, pendants. I mean, people are wondering about this. Just watch the WellWorks, the 5G pentagram class, because everybody's buying all these clothing and sheets and pillowcases and all this stuff. You may not need it. What do I tell people to do? Protect yourself the way plants do, from the inside out. The plants aren't dying from the 5G. Have you noticed? Just follow the plants. So once again, what goes in and on your body? 5G, EMF radiation. Watch this. Okay. Learn about your biblical health, divine design philosophy. This is the last one. We're out of here. Our catalyzing statement. This is how we live our lives. In the sacred service of saving lives ahead of time, we are fearlessly freeing billions of beings through all natural biblical health. Biblical, by that, I mean you will not find statues of Shiva or paintings of Buddha. Why? Polytheism, right? Not so much a religion as it is a philosophy, but people don't know that. They still think that's a religion. And it is. It's a philosophy. You won't find yoga or meditation. What religion do yoga and meditation come from? Hinduism. So you will not find yoga mats in this place. We are not communicating with demons by chanting mantras and Om. Om is the name of a Hindu demon. All the chanting that you do in yoga is names of Hindu gods and goddesses. The poses that you're doing in yoga are depictions of those Hindu gods and goddesses doing bad things. Nobody knows it. They do yoga in church now. If you're vibrating at a higher frequency but don't understand in the beginning was the Word and the Word was God, then your vibrations are completely off. I know it's going to piss somebody off, but I don't care. Next. That's why I don't work for insurance companies. Why did we do Cleveland and not Chattanooga? Because we'd have a lot more business, because we wouldn't have to fight the religious spirits over here, and all the hippies would be coming and running and knocking our doors down. But God said go to Cleveland. He didn't say go to Chattanooga. So the road is wide, but our gate has narrowed significantly due to world events. Common sense isn't so common anymore. And there's been some shady characters running around in the dumpster in the dark alley behind here where I pick up my eggs. So we put a buzz gate on the front door, and we got to recognize who you are before we open it. If the feds or the commies stop by, we just don't want them opening the door. We want to put up a fight. And then we got a gold, silver, bronze plans coming soon, which means, okay, for those people who think they want to get started, but they just can't because they're addicted to Diet Coke or whatever, they can do bronze plan where they just do the detox. They don't see me. I don't talk to them. They just do foot spas on a pulse. That way they can detox a little bit of their body. Some of your friends and family members and people who may not, they've never heard of natural health. They don't know chiropractic. They don't know supplements. They take Flintstones chewables, Centrum Silver. They don't know. They don't know that you can rebuild your body. But in order to do it, you have to change your diet. They don't know. But if they're willing to get started, they can do the bronze plan and they can just do detox. They'll still get better, just not as fast. They just won't be a 90-day return. It won't be Lazarus in 90 days. You know what I mean? Supplements, we do whole food, herbals, homeopathics, and more to actually rebuild your body. We do detoxification to speed up 5 years into a few months. We educate people. The Divine Design Academy rolled out in September 2023. It's hardcore. It's good stuff. And with the detoxification thing, everybody, if you spend 4 minutes on social media, everybody's finally talking about what? Parasites. Why? Because they're spraying them everywhere. That's all I want to say about that. You want to know more about that? Check out the chemtrail class. Education, we get 90%. Oh, go back, Jonathan. The Divine Design Academy rolled out. Right here. What does that mean? We get about 90% of our patients 90% better in 90 days. We do all of this with no MRIs, no CAT scans, no blood labs, no genetic testing. We don't do any of that crap. We don't do any stool testing, urine testing, urinalysis. We don't do any type of cortisol, salivary cortisol, urinary cortisol, none of that crap. You don't need a CPAP machine. We get rid of your canes. We get rid of your walkers. Gotten rid of a few wheelchairs. We do it in a very short amount of time. It's too much for some people to believe. I get it. But here's the deal. You do not have allergies. You do not have autoimmune diseases. You do not have hormonal imbalances. And you do not have chemical imbalances. And I have classes showing and documenting all of that. It's up to you. You can watch all those. You don't have allergies. You don't have autoimmune diseases. You don't have chemical imbalances. Here's the last couple things right here. Last slide. Caveat. It is simply not worth it to us if we have to continually convince someone about depopulation and the motives of their white-coated atheists with snakes on their name tags who profit from sickness and death while making you sicker and more confused. I mean, if people don't know all this, they don't have to know all this, but they just have to be willing to learn new things. They have to be willing to go, you know what, I've been doing this medical thing for 35 years, and all they did was make me sicker. Has anyone been in that? Right. If you're a patient here, guess what? You were in that. So was it hard for you? Maybe bits and pieces of it. Maybe coming to your appointment was the hardest thing, you know, right? You drive what, an hour and a half to get here? You know, and you're still here at 8 o'clock at night? Yeah. Remember, what's been happening for 4 years now? I can promise you it's going to be simpler and easier than going and waiting in line at Vanderbilt for your oncologist, right? And America is sick despite all the drugs, surgeries, and procedures on every corner. But now that you're here and you understand this, isn't it your duty to kind of wake people up and help people see this? Last but not least, our goal is to plant a rock in the forehead of Goliath. And in February 2024, in about 20 days, will be our 10-year anniversary. Yeah. All right. Any questions? That's it. I'll take, oh, and commercial break, right? One more, or no, that was it. Quick question. I'll do one question, then we're out of here.
Is the insurance information they have on Moody Radio truly
I have no idea.
insurance?
I have no idea what Moody Radio. I don't listen to the radio, and I haven't in 20 years. Why?
Oh, it's a Christian-based.
Don't know it.
Oh, okay.
The insurance on Moody Radio, I don't know. Any other questions? Yes.
How would it be easiest to explain to my gynecologist why I should get my IUD taken out? And because she likes to argue and she won't let me get it out.
It's your body.
Well, yes, but like, how can I word it to her to where she'll be more, I guess?
I got one for you. You ready? Just
Yeah.
say these words. 4 words. My body, my choice.
Well, I mean,
She will listen to that, though.
yeah, okay. Well,
Well, I mean, no, here, I'll answer your question, though. Like, ask her a couple questions. And say, first of all, I'll show you a couple websites to go to. And you can find out the truth about IUDs, right? Well, shoot, just Google it. Just Google how does an IUD work, right? And then go to her and say, what are the bad things about this that you never told me? Ask her then, why didn't you tell me? And then ask her, what's going to happen if I never take this out?
she said there was something wrong with me. That my IUD, like, was working correctly, but the problem was with me, so I did all this blood work.
Every doctor says that. Every doctor says that. It's never, the problem is never the drug. The problem is never the vaccine. The problem is you. The problem is God, the genetic, it's a genetic problem. That means it's all your problem. That means the doctor can't fix it and you don't have any responsibility to have to change it. You don't have to change your behavior. You don't have to change your eating. You don't have to change what you drink, what you put on, what you put in. It's genetic, man. You were born that way. That's how they skate responsibility, because they're not man enough to stand up and try to fix somebody from the ground up. That's how they trick you. You've been tricked. Get it the hell out. And tell her you don't have a choice. Take the damn thing out. There, that's how.
Well, I had to tell her that I wanted to get another one put in, so she would just give me pain medication to get it out.
These people aren't your friends. They're not your friends. People come in here all the time talking about how they were abused by their doctor, they were talked down to. oh, that was perfect at the pediatrician's office when they let us come in without vaccinating our kids. But every time we went in, they got more and more militant. They got more and more militant. Yeah, 85% of the pediatrician's income comes from getting the kids vaccinated, 100%. So of course they're going to let you come in, and then eventually they're going to, bait and switch you. They're going to pull the rug out from under you and say, well, if you don't want to be here anymore, we'll just kick you out, because they have to reach that quota. So they always change the goalposts, just like with the COVID's hoax. It's exactly the same thing. Oh, it's safe and effective. You can't get the COVIDs if you get the lethal injection. And then what happened later on? There's, well, we never said that you could get... These people are liars. They make a living off of lying to you and laughing at you when you leave. They're not your friends. I'll say it on camera. I don't care. They're not your friends. How do I know? I worked in a hospital for 3 years. I know how it works. You worked in a hospital for 35 years. Am I right? I got another patient that comes here quite frequently. She's just in a car accident. Weta, pray for her, love her. Weta, I know you're going to see this. I love you. She's such a butt kicker. I love her. But she's in a car accident. She's not here. She'd be sitting right here. Anyway, she was a nurse for 52 years. And she knows it's all fake. That OBGYN oncologist, who is it?
OBGYN.
Kick her to the curb, man. Get your freedom back. Because that thing is putting you into controlled menopause for the rest of your life. You ever want to have kids or have anything go on down there that's not cancer?
I've had her for years, like years and years and years. But every single time I've been like, okay, fine, I'll just keep it in.
So you've been poisoning yourself for years and years. She's been making money off of poisoning you for years and years. And now the time is now to pull the plug on her ass.
Absolutely.
Kick her out of your life. She's not your friend. She's been poisoning you and lying to you and telling you it's good for you. There is nothing good about that. An IUD,
So nice next time.
yeah, an IUD, intrauterine device, it's a little thing that puts you into menopause 40 years ahead of time. God. Yeah, take somebody that knows, take somebody that's going to be a butt kicker with you, and don't take no for an answer. How's that sound? That was a good question. What's your name?
I'm Shaylee, I'm her daughter.
Yeah, take your mom with you.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, IUDs, they'll kill you. They'll kill you. They'll kill you dead. Anything else? Matthew, any questions? Come up here. I want you on camera real quick. Come here. Come here. Hop up here. Nah. Oh, yeah, here. Yeah, here. Hop up here. Here, I'll hold the mic for you. How you doing, buddy? Look at the camera. See you guys. What's your name?
Matthew.
Yeah. What do you want to be when you grow up? Dr. Brett. Dr. Brett.
A chiropractor.
Chiropractor? I got a job for you, son. We don't have no child labor laws around here. No, this guy reminds me, spitting image of when I was his age. How old are you right now?
8.
Yeah, around about there. And I asked my mom tonight, hey, who does he remind you of? What'd you say?
You.
Love this guy. Love this guy. All right, thanks, buddy. Sorry to embarrass you. Okay, I'm out of here. Dr. Brett Spradlin, we'll see you February 5th. We heart you more. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.